Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the White Pube podcast. My name is Gabrielle de la Puente and the White Pube is a website that I share with my friend Zarina Mohammed. Every Sunday, roughly, we post a text about culture, taking turns. Zarina's good about it. I've been pretty ill lately, so I've missed a few, but I have written one today. Today's text, going out on Sunday the 6th of April 2025, is a spoiler-free text about a book called Lapvona. It's also not really about Lapvona, so you don't need to know anything. It's fine. This isn't a test. Chill out. Pay attention to the end for the emoji of the week, and then I'll just say up front that we have a Patreon, and I always forget to mention it because I'm not very business minded, and I don't want you to feel like a test. I don't want you to feel like I'm shaking you down for something. But if you enjoy this and you want to support us, then we just ask people to sign up at £1 a month, and then hopefully all those £1 will add up to be our wage. That sounds fair. Okay, here is the text. I can't write for long. I'll explain why in a minute. But sometimes I get this psychic itch, this bad floating feeling like a tooth is loose in my mouth. It's then I have to find my routine again. I have to get a grip, come down from that zero gravity trick that a stomach suffers on a pirate ship. I usually start by washing my hair so that I feel new. And then I find a pattern to knit. It has to be quick and mindless. I search and search for an album I've never heard but now have to listen to on repeat. I satisfy something on my to-do list just so that it's done and I did it and I know I can still do things. Then I like to finish off an item in the fridge or the cupboard. Finish it or accept it's time to throw it out. That way I get to clean a jar and see the good space it leaves on the shelf and know that life moves on. In moods like this, that's when it feels best to read a book I've had on the shelf forever. A novel everyone else seems to have already read but that I still know nothing about. I only know the cover of the book well by this point. It doesn't really matter what the book is. It doesn't matter if I excavate the last of the peanut butter to find it somehow desiccated and tasteless and no, I wouldn't have eaten it anyway. This is just when it feels best to read something for the sake of having read it. This week, that poor book was Lapvona by Otessa Moshfegh, published in 2022. Black background, blue lettering, a painted lamb that looks like it might be dead, sleeping, or captured. I didn't enjoy the book much, but I read it anyway, and I think it's probably worthwhile explaining why I insist on completing books all the way to the end, even when the jam is wearing white fur. Lapvona's story is set in a medieval fiefdom. The people are poor and superstitious. There's a bandit in stocks, a lamb herder, a nun, a priest, and a woman who can talk to birds. That woman heals people. She breastfeeds every baby and some of the adults as well. There's also a lord at the top of the hill who wants to be entertained every minute of the day. There's a drought. There's a lot of violence and filth. Bad things happen to people whether they deserve it or not, and I don't know. It's probably a book full of nervous laughter if you're in the mood. A book like a kid making dolls, dressing them in scrap fabric held together by safety pins, and then mashing the dolls together. Now kiss, now fight, now jest. But it was just comfortably boring to me. Too many violent things happen to call the book neutral, but that's still how I heard it. Like white noise or someone telling me a story through a wall. And I'm sort of okay with that. I wonder if me reading every page of a book instead of giving up is me being a polite reader to the writer, because I write and I know there are stories that don't bud for a long time. I don't mind staring at soil on occasion. I know chronic illness well. I'm used to waiting a long time for something, if anything, to change. I'm a patient and a critic. And I don't feel resentful if a book doesn't become more like a book I would personally enjoy by the time it's over, because I know that it wasn't written for me. Still, there's something about reading a whole book regardless of my own enjoyment that feels sly on Otessa Moshfegh. In this tooth-loose mood, I just wanted to be reading. I might as well have read the dictionary. So I'm not that convinced I read Lapvona. It's more like I used it. Lapvona was simply a way to time travel myself through some hours of life, like the author had volunteered to stick a finger in my mouth and hold the tooth down for a while. I'm not even depressed, though I'm not particularly happy at the moment either. And it's less a chemical betrayal and more the world around me. My health has been trending downwards for the last 4 months. On Sunday, I went to see a family member in a hospice. On Tuesday, I was in a clinical trial for long COVID. They took 14 vials of blood, put anaesthetic in my eyes, tested my pain tolerance, and took 3 cylindrical biopsies of skin down my right leg. I told the scientists that they could do this to me every day if it meant something would come of it, and everyone laughed. I went back to the hospice as soon as it was done, and while I was there, I got a call that another family member had fallen and broken their back. When the call ended, I realised I had bled through all the gauze on my leg. On Wednesday, I had an appointment with a cardiologist that I'd waited 12 months for so that I could start new medication. He's not sure there's anything left after this. This one has to do something, has to change, has to make the soil bud. On Thursday, I withdrew from all upcoming work that would have taken me out of the house. I need to rest. I'm sad and livid. I should have been speaking in a museum in Barcelona next week, but I know I'm too sick to wing it. On Friday, I also withdrew from the PhD I'd been offered. I applied when my energy was more level, but now I am desiccated too. I read Lapvona in between the events of this week, but what does a book about a drought matter when I'm already in one? There's something about feeling headless these days. I accept that I'm typing this stuff, but nothing I've said is a particularly interesting thought or new idea. Everything is an observation. I see the book I'm reading, but I don't feel it. I see the man who knocks on the door and how he looks like an off-season Father Christmas, a courier from the hospital with that long-awaited heart medication. It's why I cannot write for long today. I took the first pill a few hours ago, and Now I can feel the veins tore down my arms and legs like the cardiologist is a puppet master pulling on all my terrible wet strings. I told my boyfriend, I feel like the close-up shot in a film of a clammy face before the main character has a nosebleed, and then you know something is wrong. The cardiologist said he'd see me in 3 months to make sure I didn't feel that way. I got an email this morning that said our follow-up is in 7. It's going to be a very long film. Everything always seems to be coming undone like that. Gets loose in a new way every week. That must be why I read things from beginning to end. Otherwise, grief for myself and other people would be completely unguarded. It's probably why I'm not depressed yet, though on paper it would suit me. I might be the most like the Lord of Lapvona who needs entertaining every minute of the day. I get it. I get the medieval royalty urge to always have entertainment while eating tweet from years ago, but I feel it for my whole life. No time to breathe out. And this is probably why some people get pathological about the gym and other people start collections and people with the legs for it go travelling and never come home. Everyone is trying to be a conqueror because otherwise it's meaningless chaos and that doesn't make for a good story. As a writer, I suppose I get pathological with words. I have to finish the book even when reading is something I have to do and not something I want to do. I already need to find the next one because Lapvona is already out of my mind. It's not even really here in this text. In between the entertainment, I'm thinking about a leaflet I saw pinned on the notice board inside room K in the hospice. The leaflet was about the tipple trolley. The tipple trolley? I had to remind myself we went in a hospital. This place wasn't about punishing people towards survival, cutting their legs open and numbing their eyes. The hospice is also for entertainment, for diversion, for time travel, for drinking whiskey and coke even if you can't taste things anymore, for feeling like a lord while it lasts. Okay, short text this week. I also just can't even record this for long. I need to go and stand up. If you're here at the end of the text, please comment a tooth emoji on the Instagram post I'm about to put out of this text, or share it with a tooth somewhere else, or tell me what you would get from the tipple trolley. What would be your drink order? If I could drink, I would get a red wine and coke, and I'd mix it together, and I would chug it, and I would drink so much red wine and coke before I die. Okay, on that note, I'll see you later. Bye bye.